Hi, and welcome back to Piano Lessons with Pizzazz. I'm Heidi Goldman. I received an email from Jonathan, very confused, and so I'll read his little email to you. I'm just a beginner. Well, Jonathan, we all had to start somewhere, so don't say just a beginner. This is the beginning of a wonderful journey, and wondered if you would explain sharps and flats and where they are on the piano. I would love to. I'm sure other viewers also have the same question. And his second question was, do minor chords always have a black key? So let's address the first question, explaining sharps and flats and where they're located on the piano. So first I'll show you my keyboard. As you may remember, a half step is when you have two keys next to each other, like from C to this black key, and there isn't a key in between. And by that I mean from C to D is a whole step, because there is a key in between. So if there isn't a key in between, this is a half step, and this is a half step, and this is a half step, and a half step. And here's an example of two white keys, which are half steps. Yes, they are together, and there isn't a key in between. And from B to C is also a half step. There isn't a key in between. So when we think about sharps and flats, we need to know our half steps. A sharp is a half step above or to the right of a key. So here's C. A half step above C is this black key. And when we talk about a half step above or to the right, that is a sharp. From D to this black key is a half step above, and that is a sharp. So all the keys that are half step up to the right are sharps. Half step up, so this would be G sharp. Here's A. What do you think this one would be? So this is A sharp. Okay, how about two tricky ones? From E, half step above is F, but it's called E sharp sometimes. And here's a B. Where's B sharp? Right here. But you might be thinking, but that's C, and that's true. And I'll get to that in a minute. So now let's talk about flats. A flat is a half step also, but this time it's a half step going down to the left. So here's B, and here's B flat. Here's A, and which one is this? A flat. Here's a G, G flat. Okay, so I have a little question for you. What is a half step above F? If you said F sharp, you're right. Now let's talk about flats. What's a half step below G? So that's G flat. Wait a minute. Wasn't it F sharp? And now you're saying it's G flat. Exactly. So one key can have two different names. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just the way it is. And that's called enharmonic. So for example, here is A sharp, but it's also B flat. So Jonathan, I hope that answers your question. And the next question you were asking, do minor chords always have a black key? It kind of seems that way when you first start off, but actually that's not true, and I'll show you why. Okay, so let's review our scales. Not all of them, this will be a short lesson. So the C scale doesn't have any sharps or flats. Okay, so that's the C scale. To make a chord, we play the first key of the scale, the third key of the scale, and the fifth key of the scale. And that is your major chord, and it sounds happy. Now, to make it minor, let's lower the third key a half step. And just something to keep in mind, okay? It won't always be the third finger that you lower. So just remember, it's the third key, 1, 2, 3 of the scale. So we lower it a half step. As you see, this is a black key. Let's play the G scale. Okay, the major chord, every other key with every other finger on the first, the third, and the fifth of your scale. That's your major. And then to make it minor, just take your third key, remember, not always the third finger, and then lower that a half step. So Jonathan, you may be thinking, okay, well, C minor has a black key and G minor has a black key, and that's true. However, let's look at the D scale. F sharp, C sharp. So the major has the first key, 1, 2, 3, the third key, 4, 5. So now you've got an example of the third key, which has a black key, and it's major. And then the minor, we lower that 1/2 step, and the minor in this case has a white key. So I hope that helped to answer your question, and I do have one more helpful hint on sharps and flats, which I'd like to show you. On my right-on wipe-off board, which you can see, there's a little hint that I tell my students when they don't know which direction is the sharp or the flat. Everyone gets confused in the beginning. So the sharp is when you move your half step up to the right. And the trick is that the word sharp has an R in it and right has an R. Okay, so I hope that makes it a little bit easier. Now with the flat looks like a fancy B. And the flat is a half step lower. The word flat has an L in it, and lower and to the left has an L. Okay, so sharp has an R, we go up to the right. Flat has an L, and we go half step lower to the left. And hopefully that will clarify everything for you. One of the cute things when I was teaching this week, one of my little students called the sharp, this is cute, a hashtag. So yes, the sharp does look like a hashtag, and it looks like a pound symbol, and it also looks like a tic-tac-toe. Whatever you want to call it, just remember it's a sharp. And the flat, some of my beginning students think it's a B. And when that's in front of any note, even if it's not a B, they'll say, oh, that's a B flat. But the trick is, know that's a symbol. It's not the letter B. Looks like a B, but it's the letter, it's the symbol, a flat symbol that looks like a letter B. Oh, got tongue twisted. Okay, so now I just wish to tell all of you I am so grateful that you've come back and you're visiting and learning piano with me. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, please write them below. I'm sure other people have the exact same questions. Or if you prefer to write to me, it's Heidi, H-E-I-D-I, at Piano Lessons with Pizzazz, 2 Z's in the beginning and 2 Z's at the end, .com. And as always, not only is this lesson dedicated to Jonathan for those 2 great questions, but also to my favorite pop singer, composer, Elton John. Please do not retire. Do not retire. And I will see all of you at my next video. Bye for now.